you all to please rise as we welcome with great respect our chief guest and distinguished dignitaries who've joined us for this solemn occasion. We are deeply honored to be joined today by Honorable Justice Surya Kant ji, Judge Supreme Court of India, Honorable Justice U. Lalit ji, former Chief Justice of India, Dr. Prashant Bhalla sir, Chancellor, Manav Rachna University, Professor Dr. Deependra Kumar Jha sir, Vice Chancellor, Manav Rachna University, Mrs. Vandana Marda, daughter of Honorable Justice R.C. Lahoti, and many other eminent members of the legal community, distinguished faculty and students. Please give them a warm round of applause. I request everybody to please take their seats now. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today at Manav Rachna University for the second Justice R.C. Lahoti Memorial Lecture. This gathering is an opportunity for us to reflect on the life, contributions, and lasting influence of Honorable late Justice Ramesh Chandra Lahoti, former Chief Justice of India. Before we begin the formal proceedings, we invite our esteemed dignitaries to join us for the ceremonial lighting of the lamp, a tradition that symbolizes the dispelling of darkness and the awakening of knowledge. Volunteers, please bring forward the items.
मा सरस्वती शारदे, मा सरस्वती शारदे, पूरण इस अज्ञान उदधि से, पूरण इस अज्ञान उदधि से, वीणा पानी तार दे, तार दे, तार दे, माँ सरस्वती शारदे। सूर्य ब्रह्मा विष्णु गजानन, सूर्य ब्रह्मा विष्णु गजानन, जिन चरणों को सेवते हम शिशु हैं अज्ञानी माता, हम शिशु हैं अज्ञानी माता, इन चरणों का ध्यान दे, माँ सरस्वती शारदे, माँ सरस्वती शारदे, पूरण इस अज्ञान उदधि से, पूरण इस अज्ञान उदधि से, वीणा पानी तार दे, तार दे, तार दे, माँ सरस्वती शारदे, माँ सरस्वती शारदे।
Having lit the lamp to symbolize hope, inspiration, and the dispelling of darkness and knowledge, we now move forward to felicitate our esteemed guests. I first request Dr. Prashant Bhalla sir, Chancellor, Manav Rachna University, to kindly felicitate Justice Surya Kant sir as a token of our appreciation and respect. I now request Professor Dr. Dipendra Kumar Jha sir, Vice Chancellor Manav Rachna University, to kindly felicitate Honorable Justice UU Lalit sir. May I now request Dr. Amit Bhalla sir to please felicitate Ms. Vandana Marda on behalf of our university. I once again request Professor Dr. Dipendra Kumar Jha sir to please felicitate Honorable K.K. Lahoti sir as a mark of our respect. Thank you, everyone. Before we move forward, let us pause to reflect on the legacy of the remarkable man whose life we celebrate today. Ladies and gentlemen, we've gathered here for the second Justice R.C. Lahoti Memorial Lecture. Justice Ramesh Chandra Lahoti was not only one of India's most distinguished Chief Justices, but a man whose life and work left an indelible mark on Indian jurisprudence. He was not just a judge, not just a legal mind, but a visionary who believed that law was more than a profession, it was a moral calling. He often reminded us that law is not confined to the pages of books or the walls of courtrooms. It is the soul of justice, the voice of the voiceless, and the foundation upon which just societies are built. For those who had the opportunity to work with him, listen to him, or study his judgments, it was clear. He was a guiding light. His legacy lives on, not just in legal archives or verdicts, but in the minds he shaped, the values he stood for, and the future he helped refine. As we listen to the voices gathered here today, some who knew him personally, and others who were inspired by his work, we remember Justice Lahoti not just with reverence, but with renewed resolve to uphold the ideals he cherished: truth, fairness, courage, and justice. To officially begin this commemorative lecture, I now invite Professor Dr. Dipendra Kumar Jha sir, Vice Chancellor Manav Rachna University, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you. Distinguished Chief Guest, Honorable Justice Surya Kant, Judge, Supreme Court of India, esteemed guest of honor, Honorable Justice UU Lalit, former Chief Justice of India, Honorable Chancellor Dr. Prashant Bhalla, Honorable Vice President Dr. Amit Bhalla, dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, respected members of the judiciary, esteemed members of the bar from the Honorable Supreme Court and various high courts, respected policymakers, Dean School of Law, members of faculty, dear students, the distinguished family of Justice R.C. Lahoti, and members of Manav Rachna University. A very warm good morning to all of you. It is with a deep sense of honor and humility that I welcome you all to the second Justice R.C. Lahoti Memorial Lecture, an occasion that brings us together not only to remember a towering figure of Indian jurisprudence, but also to reflect on the various values that shaped his life and legacy. I must confess, I never had a privilege of meeting Justice R.C. Lahoti in person, and yet, like many in this room, I feel as though I have known him through his judgments, through the quiet strength of his principles and through the reverence with which people speak his name. The stories I have heard over the years from colleagues, students, and senior members of the legal fraternity paint the portrait of a man who embodied grace, integrity, and an unshakable commitment to justice. His tenure as Chief Justice of India was marked not only by loud proclamations, but by a profound and dignified presence that elevated entire institution. Justice Lahoti did not just interpret the law. He upheld human dignity. Time and again, his judgment reflected a deep understanding of the constitutional soul of India, one that balances fairness with freedom and compassion with courage. It's a matter of immense pride for us to host this memorial lecture in his name, to keep alive the spirit of a jurist who never sought the limelight but always stood tall in its glow. We are also blessed to have among us two eminent figures who continue to carry forward his legacy of ethical and enlightened jurisprudence. Hon'ble Justice Surya Kant, our Chief Guest of the day, whose judgments have often been a mirror to the conscience of the court. And Honorable Justice U. Lalit, our guest of the honor, the 49th Chief Justice of India, whose efforts to make justice more inclusive has touched countless lives. We are deeply grateful to you both, sir, for your presence today. It's a tribute in itself to Justice Lahoti's enduring influence. I would also like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Honorable Chancellor, Dr. Prashant Valla, and Honorable Vice President, Dr. Amit Valla, whose vision has helped Manav Rachna University to emerge as a center for thoughtful, human-centered legal education. Your unwavering support enables us to host events like this, which are not just ceremonial, but soul-stirring. The theme of today's lecture, From Legislation to Liberation, Strengthening Legal Aid for the Marginalized in Changing India, is particularly close to my heart. In every policy discussion, in every classroom conversation, one truth stands out. Laws mean little unless they are accessible. Justice Lahoti understood this. He believed in a justice system where no person is left behind simply because they could not afford to be heard. This lecture, I hope, becomes a space for honest dialogue, where we would talk not only about the laws, but about lives. Not about only systems, but about stories. It's also a moment to reflect how can legal education shape young minds, not merely to interpret law, but to use it as a tool for healing and hope. To the family of Justice Lahoti, thank you sincerely for allowing us the honor of remembering him in this way. I hope you see in today's gathering a glimpse of the legacy he continues to inspire in students who have never met him and yet wish to follow his path. And to our students, let this not just be a lecture you attend, but a memory you carry. Justice Lahoti once said, "The foundation of justice lies in the integrity of those who interpret it." May these words stay with you as you walk along, often challenging the road ahead. The laws needs your competence, but more than that, it needs your conscience. Thank you all for being here. Your presence today is a collective act of remembrance, of respect, and above all, of commitment to a vision of justice that is noble, inclusive, and deeply human. Let us now open our hearts and mind to the ideas that will be shared today, and may they inspire in us the courage to build a world where justice is not only delivered, but deeply felt. Thank you. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, sir, for those thoughtful and heartfelt words. I now have the pleasure of inviting our Chancellor, Dr. Prashant Bhalla, sir, to kindly share his thoughts and address this esteemed gathering.
Our distinguished chief guest of the day, Honorable Mr. Justice Surya Kant, Judge of Supreme Court of India. Our guest of honor, Honorable Justice UU Lalit, former Chief Justice of India. Vice President Dr. Amit Bhalla, Vice Chancellor Professor Dipender Kumar Jha. Esteemed members of the judiciary, members of the bar from the Supreme Court and various high courts, policy makers, distinguished academicians, members of the faculty, dear students, the honorable family of late Justice R.C. Lahoti, and my dear Manav Rachna family. Good morning to everyone present here. This is not just a lecture, I think it's a moment of reflection, a tribute to a jurist who stood tall, not just in the classrooms, in courtrooms of India, but in the moral conscience of our legal tradition. Justice R.C. Lahoti's life and career were marked by deep integrity, simplicity, and a profound understanding of constitutional justice. Today, as we gather to remember him, we are reminded that a truly great life is one that continues to inspire long after it has passed. We are deeply honored by the presence of Honorable Mr. Justice Surya Kant ji, who brings to this occasion not only his stature as a judge of the Supreme Court, but also the weight of a remarkable personal and professional journey. From humble beginnings to the apex court of the country, his story is one of quiet determination and unwavering commitment to constitutional ideals. His judgments reflect empathy, clarity, and vision. We thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation and for your gracious presence amongst us. We are equally privileged to welcome Honorable Mr. Justice UU Lalit, the former Chief Justice of India, whose tenure on the bench was marked by distinction, foresight, and an unwavering sense of fairness. Justice Lalit's emphasis on access to justice and legal reforms is well known. His continued engagement with the academic and professional legal community, even after demitting office, reflects his deep commitment to nurturing the next generation of legal minds. Sir, it is a privilege to have you with us here. And we are equally honored by the presence of the distinguished family of Justice R.C. Lahoti, whose legacy continues to illuminate the path of justice and integrity in our country. A man of deep wisdom, humility, and unwavering commitment to constitutional values, Justice Lahoti exemplified judicial excellence through his clarity of thought and moral clarity. His judgments were not only legally profound, but also humane in spirit, reflecting his deep concern for justice as a lived experience for every citizen. His legacy lives on not only in the pages of law reports, but in the hearts of all who cherish fairness, dignity, and service. Today, as we remember him, we also thank his family for sharing him with the nation and for being with us on this solemn occasion. I take this opportunity to congratulate and commend the School of Law, Manav Rachna University, for organizing this important memorial lecture with such thoughtfulness and sincerity. These are not just academic events. They are instruments of cultural and intellectual continuity. They keep alive the values and legacy of those who built the institutions we cherish today. Lectures like the Justice R.C. Lahoti Memorial Lecture serve as a vital bridge between legal scholarship and lived judicial wisdom. They offer students, academics, and practitioners a rare opportunity to engage with the thoughts of some of the finest minds in the legal field. Such events not only honor the legacy of great jurists, but also inspire future generations to uphold the highest standards of justice and integrity. They enrich the academic environment and deepen our collective understanding of law and practice. To our dear students, may this moment serve as a reminder that legal education is not just a path to a profession, but to a purpose. Let Justice R.C. Lahoti's life be your benchmark and his principles your guide. Thank you all once again for being part of this significant occasion. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring message and continued vision for Manav Rachna. It is now my honor to invite Ms. Vandana Marda, daughter of Honorable Justice Lahoti, sir, to share her reflection and memories of sir. Ma'am, please.
Thank you. Good morning, distinguished guests from the judiciary, Manav Rachna fraternity, and dear students. On the occasion of the second Justice R.C. Lahoti Memorial Lecture Series, it is with great humility, pride, and emotion that I stand before you today. It is an immense honor to be given this opportunity to speak from this platform, for which I'm truly grateful to Manav Rachna University. I consider it not only a personal joy, but also the one that fills me with deep gratitude. However, truly speaking, while I extend my heartfelt thanks to Manav Rachna University, I find myself questioning whether the formality of thanks even needed or necessary. Because every time we, the entire Lahoti family, step into the campus of Manav Rachna University, we are enveloped in a sense of warmth, belonging, and affection. It feels as though we are not guests here, but we are part of a shared family. Within these walls, the memories of Justice Lahoti, my father, are not just preserved, they are felt, honored, and brought to life. The last time when we were here, and Honorable Justice UU Lalit uncle was also here with us, he too would remember how the students had portrayed and enacted Justice Lahoti's life, personal and professional, with such affection, thoughtfully curated and meaningfully curated his whole life and major events. And you know an interesting fact, that day last year was 11th May, and which incidentally is also the wedding anniversary of my parents. And truly, no tribute could have been more poignant or meaningful than that. For this sense of belonging, this gesture of respect and honor, I wish to express on behalf of complete Lahoti family and on behalf of my mother, who couldn't be here today because she has undergone a surgery and she's recovering from that, extend my deepest appreciation and gratitude to the esteemed Chancellor, Dr. Prashant Bhalla, Vice President Amit Bhalla, Vice Chancellor Dr. Dipendra Kumar Jha, the entire faculty of law at Manav Rachna, and to each and every student. My deep gratitude. And now, I turn to the responsibility entrusted to me, reminiscing the rich legacy of my father, Hon'ble Justice R.C. Lahoti. Justice Lahoti's contribution to the judiciary are well known. His tenure as the Chief Justice of India was marked by balance, moderation, and clarity of vision. His greatest legacy, as we all know, lies in the values he upheld. His insistence on ethical conduct, on impartiality, and on serving without seeking personal glory. There is much of this available in the public domain. But today, I would like to share some lesser-known aspects of or incidents of my father's personality that have not been shared or mentioned until now. And this incident relates to that historical day when my father was elevated as the 35th Chief Justice of India. That evening, during a family celebration, we interviewed Papaji, we used to call him Papaji, at home, in which we asked him how he felt on being appointed as pinnacle of Indian judiciary. And what he said then was profound and deep, and I'd like to share with you all today. It's in Hindi. He said, न्यायदान ईश्वरीय कर्तव्य का संपादन है। न्यायपालिका इस देश के कोटि कोटि जन की अंतिम आशा है। वास्तव में यह तो पूजा का समय है, जिसका अवसर प्रभु कृपा से ही मिलता है। परमात्मा के प्रति अत्यंत नतमस्तक होकर वे कहते हैं, मुझे रास आ गया तेरे दर पे सर झुकाना, तुझे मिल गया पुजारी, मुझे मिल गया ठिकाना। मुझे कौन जानता था तेरी बंदगी से पहले, तेरी याद ने बना दी मेरी जिंदगी फसाना। My father believed it is important for judges to have full faith in the Constitution and God while dispensing justice. The oath of a judge reflects the confidence which the Constitution makers posed in the judges, that they would perform their duty to the best of their ability without fear or favor, affection or ill will. Even after retirement, he continued to serve quietly, purposefully, whether it was through arbitration, writing, or mentoring, he never sought the spotlight. In fact, he often avoided it. But those who came to him for guidance always left enriched by his wisdom, his honesty, and the clarity with which he saw the world. As a father, he taught us many things, some directly and many more by examples. He taught us that success means little without character. That discipline is not rigidity, but commitment, doing the right thing when no one is watching. That silence is not weakness, but strength. And that service is not something you do in grand gestures, but in everyday acts of honesty and kindness. As we gather here today to reflect on his life and legacy, I find comfort in knowing that his values continue to live on. In the judgments he authored, in the young minds he mentored, and in the institution he served so faithfully. I also believe that his true legacy lies not in the records or titles, but in the lives he touched, in the respect he earned, the trust he built, and the ideals he never compromised. On behalf of our family, I extend a heartfelt thanks to each of you for remembering him, for honoring him, and for ensuring that his commitment to justice continues to inspire. May we carry forward the values he stood for with the same quiet dignity, the same resolute purpose, and the same belief that the justice is not just a profession, it is a responsibility. The responsibility assigned by the God, which makes a judge representative of God to fulfill divine duty. And now, to conclude, और पापा जी के शब्दों में ही समेटना चाहूँगी न्यायदान के महान कार्य को। वे कहते थे, पर पीड़ा से छलक उठे मन, यह छलकन ही गंगा जल है। दुख हरने को पुलक उठे मन, यह पुलकन ही तुलसी दल है। जो अभाव में भाव भर सके, वाणी से रसधार झर सके, जन हिताय अर्पित जो जीवन, यह अर्पण ही आराधन है, यह अर्पण ही आराधन है। Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that deeply personal and heartfelt tribute. It is my privilege to introduce our guest of honor, Honorable Justice U. Lalit sir, former Chief Justice of India. Though his illustrious career and contributions to the judiciary are well known to all of us. Justice Uday Umesh Lalit sir, born on 9th November 1957, is a distinguished Indian jurist and former judge of the Supreme Court of India who served as the 49th Chief Justice of India. A law graduate from Government Law College, Mumbai, he enrolled with the Bar Council of Maharashtra and Goa in June 1983. Before his elevation to the bench, he had a long and successful career as a senior advocate at the Supreme Court and was among the rare 11 senior counsels to be directly elevated to the Supreme Court. Appointed as a judge in August 2014, he became only the 6th lawyer in India's history to receive such a direct elevation. Justice Lalit was part of the historic 5-judge bench that declared the practice of triple talaq unconstitutional in 2017, marking a significant step towards gender justice. During his tenure as Chief Justice, beginning on 10th August 2022, the Supreme Court disposed of over 10,000 cases and set up 6 constitutional benches, contributing to a notable reduction in case pendency. We are deeply privileged to have him as the chairperson of the Advisory Board School of Law, Manav Rachna University. His presence here today is a source of great inspiration for our students and faculty alike. May I now request Sir to kindly grace the dais and bless us with his words of wisdom.
Honorable Mr. Justice Surya Kant, Judge Supreme Court of India, the Honorable President of Manav Rachna Institutions, the family members of Justice R.C. Lahoti, all the distinguished persons present today. I see some of the senior counsel practicing in the Supreme Court, some of the advocates practicing in the Supreme Court, the learned faculty members, and the students. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to be standing before you on this occasion. But I'm slightly nervous. Why? Because these are very large shoes to be filled. So therefore, to be sitting here and to be before you on this occasion, Justice R.C. Lahoti Memorial Lecture, is quite a thing which may put you on a nervous side. Why do I say so? Justice Lahoti's career in the Supreme Court from 1998 to 2005, 7 years. But remarkable career. And around the same time, I got designated in 2004. Naturally, R.C. Lahoti was part of the bench. And I was just about rising in the profession when Justice Lahoti was in the Supreme Court. So used to have number of instances where I would be appearing before him or before the court where he would be a member, and would keenly observe him. Because to my mind, if there was one karma yogi in the Supreme Court in those days, it was this gentleman. And it was very rightly mentioned by his daughter, the kind of approach to the matters which Justice Lahoti displayed. Very thorough when it came to preparation, very attentive when it came to listening to the counsel, very clear when it came to application of mind, and very, very concise but very telling observations when it came to judgment writing. How many of us know, and we have almost accepted it as part of our social order, that no noise in public places after 11 o'clock? Who is the creator? Who is the inventor of that idea? It was Justice Lahoti in noise pollution matters. But I have today been given the task of taking you through some of his judicial decisions. And I would concentrate on only 3 of those decisions because slightly selfish interest on my part, because I appeared in all 3 matters before him. So the first one is, of course, according to me, one of the finest judgments of Justice Lahoti, which is P.A. Inamdar. Inamdar was a bench of 7 judges, Justice Lahoti presiding over the bench, and it's one of those rare occasions when, in a 7-judge combination, it's a unanimous judgment. So to convince all of his colleagues to take them together and then come out with a unanimous judgment itself is a great skillful art. And what was the context? October 2002 came the judgment in TMA Pi, 11-judge combination. There were about 7 judgments. And it created a flutter when it comes to educational institutions and their rights and what exactly can they do. So much so that within almost about 7 to 8 months, the Supreme Court had to constitute another constitution bench to deal with the issues which arose as a result of TMA Pi, and judgment in Islamic came. Mind you, 4 of the judges who constituted the bench in Islamic were part of TMA-PI. And they came out with the idea which is called fee committee, fee fixation committee, and admissions committee to be presided over by judges of the High Court in respective areas to guide so far as all these issues are concerned. Many felt that perhaps the essence of TMA-PI was getting lost as a result of Islamic. So therefore the matter again got referred to 7 judges, and that's what PA Inamdar was. And in Inamdar, at times we are judges or the judicial fraternity is criticized on one count that you are judicially trying to legislate something. So therefore, one of the ideas was that how can the judge-made law constitute a committee of fee fixation and admissions committee? Is that not laying down principles of law? So are you not transgressing the power? And Justice Lahoti at the end of that judgment says that yes, we have to act at times. Why? Because out of those 3 elements which we saw here just now, 3 pillars of democracy, executive, legislature, and judicial wing, if the other 2 wings do not act, then the judiciary has to act. But what we do is always subject to whatever be the legislature and whatever be the voice of people, which will get the sort of implementation through the legislation. So long as the legislature doesn't step in, we have to act. And that's a very beautiful passage at the end of that judgment in Inamdar. One of the issues in Inamdar was whether there can be a reservation policy in a non-aided institution, whether it is minority or non-minority. And Justice Lahoti's judgment deals with that, and he said that there is nothing in the Constitution which will enable to work your reservation policy in a non-aided institution. If you receive aid, there is always the alter ego of the state which stands behind that institution, and therefore you can certainly work your reservation policy. But in an unaided or non-aided institution, it's just not possible. Of course, the Parliament stepped in, and 93rd Amendment brought in what is called 15(5), which to certain extent tried to water down the effect of that judgment. But Inamdar has stayed, and Inamdar has been the law of this country since 2005 for last 20 years, and it has guided all the non-aided institutions and has guided this particular sphere of activity like the beacon in a cold night. The second judgment which I may place before you is Bal Patil, which I had the occasion to argue. Justice Lahoti was presiding over the bench, but the judgment is written by, I think, Justice G.P. Mathur. No, judgment is by D.M. Dharmadhikari, sorry. And what was the idea? There was a section of population somewhere in southern part of Maharashtra who were practicing Jainism as a religion, and according to them, Jainism should be declared as a minority religion. And the moment you have a declaration as minority, there are certain rights under 29 and 30 of the Constitution which will spring. And so therefore, they would certainly have the protection. The idea was simply that. But the discourse and the kind of interactions which I had with Justice Lahoti during the course of that matter actually taught me so many things. His idea was that if we start declaring every section of the population to be a minority, wouldn't there be a mutual distrust amongst the sections of the population? And would it not be that we'll be dividing the society? It is true that, and he also reminded us that the religious kind of, distinction, and on that basis, the differentiation and giving political representation was one of the reasons for the partition of this country. So therefore, should we enter into that arena? Should we embark in that direction? And that's exactly why our submission was rejected. Bal Patil got dismissed. And though some of the observations in that judgment are very, very telling, and this mutual distrust, etc., finds a particular mention in one of the paragraphs of the judgment. The third judgment, Sarbananda Sonowal. There was this legislation which was enacted by the parliament called Illegal Migrants Determination Tribunal Act, IMDT Act. What happened is after 71 war, there was huge influx of Bangladeshis in the northeastern region. And therefore, to identify some of those illegal migrants, the act was enacted by the parliament. But what was actually the apparent, the result was that the earlier regime which was put in place as a result of foreigners' determination tribunals regulations was much more severe than this IMDT Act. So therefore the court said that your intent appears to be to stop the illegal migrants' inflow in the country, but the regime that you have put in place is completely inadequate to deal with that problem. And in that judgment, there are 2-3 beautiful passages which are, what is the function of a king? Which was given by Arthashastra in Kautilya's Arthashastra, that a king has to protect not only from the external aggression, but internal disturbances as well. And therefore, according to that judgment, it is the duty under Article 335 of the Constitution of India, duty which is given to the Union of India to protect every state from internal disturbances as well as external aggression. And if that is the duty, your IMDT Act does not fulfill that. So therefore, for the first time, on the anvil of Article 335, a legislation was struck down by the Supreme Court. And according to them, if the integrity and the security of Northeast region is to be protected, this influx must be stopped. And therefore, whoever are the illegal migrants, you must identify them with clarity and take appropriate steps. Now, this is where, again, the ideas of what? One part is, I told you Bal Patil, so that we should not have internal, again, divisions amongst the society. The second part is there should not be internal disturbance in the society as a result of any external aggression. Aggression cannot be just about armed rebellion. Aggression can be in the form of avalanche of illegal migrants as well. So that shows you the kind of, attitude which this person had so far as the unity, integrity of this country is concerned, and to what extent that particular bastion has to be guarded. And that was the clear message. And that's the reason I picked up just these 3 judgments in order to place my short submission before you. You're all waiting for the address for the day, and that is Justice Surya Kant, so therefore I won't stand in between. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful address. It is now my profound honor to introduce our esteemed chief guest, Honorable Justice Surya Kant Sir, Judge, Supreme Court of India. Justice Surya Kant was born on 10th February 1962 in Hisar, Haryana. He graduated in law from Maharshi Dayananda University, Rohtak in 1984 and began his legal practice at the District Court, Hisar, in the same year. In 1985, he moved to Chandigarh to practice at the Punjab and Haryana High Court, where he specialized in constitutional and civil matters. Justice Surya Kant earned the distinction of being appointed the youngest Advocate General of Haryana in 2000 and was designated as a senior advocate in 2001. He was elevated as a permanent judge of the Punjab and Haryana High Court in 2004 and served as a member of the governing body of the National Legal Services Authority until February 2011. In 2011, he secured first class first in his master's degree in law from Kurukshetra University. Known for his academic and professional excellence, he has organized and participated in various prestigious national and international conferences. Justice Surya Kant assumed charge as Chief Justice of the Himachal Pradesh High Court on 5th October 2018 and was elevated to the Supreme Court of India on 24th May 2019. He presently serves as the Chairman of the Supreme Court Legal Services Committee since 12th November 2024. We are deeply honored and grateful to him for accepting our invitation and gracing this occasion. Sir, I invite you now to kindly come to the dais and deliver the presidential address.
Honorable Mr. Justice Uday U. Lalit, former Chief Justice of India, my sister Justice Geeta Mittal, former Chief Justice, Jammu and Kashmir High Court, Dr. Prashant Bhalla, Chancellor, Manav Rachna University, Professor Dr. Dipendra Kumar Jha, Vice Chancellor of the University, Justice K.K. Lahoti, former Judge of the Madhya Pradesh High Court, Dr. Asha Verma, Dean School of Law, Manav Rachna University, Dr. Vandana Marda on the dais, senior advocates and members of the Supreme Court, High Court and District Court Bar Association, learned District Session Judge, and other judicial officers of the Faridabad Session Division, members of the faculty and administration of Manav Rachna University, family members of Justice R.C. Lahoti, a very distinguished team of former bureaucrats of Haryana are also present here. They have been very closely associated with me throughout my life. I don't want to name them individually. Learned Deputy Commissioner, Commissioner of Police of the Faridabad District Administration, distinguished guests on and of the dais, friends from media, my dear students. First of all, I am thankful to Justice Uday Lalit for giving me this opportunity to be with all of you and share my views on a subject which is not only close to my heart, but it is also the current responsibility that I am carrying. I am only correcting the Madam Computer. Now I am looking after the National Legal Service Authority. So the legal aid is a subject which is I am statutorily responsible to cater on pan-India basis. It is a profound honor to deliver Justice R.C. Lahoti second memorial lecture at this university, where we have gathered not merely to commemorate a towering jurist, but to rekindle the ideals he so gracefully embodied: clarity of thought, constitutional fidelity, and an unwavering moral compass. Justice Lahoti, through more than 340 judgments, if I'm correct, probably 342 judgments he delivered, wove these values into the very fabric of Indian jurisprudence. His legacy endures not just in law reports, but as a guiding light for legal reform and the pursuit of justice. On a personal note, I vividly remember my first interaction with Justice Lahoti, though I used to appear as a private counsel in his court occasionally, but then almost frequently when I was Advocate General for the state. But my first in-person meeting, I always fondly remember. That was the time when my name had already been notified for elevation as a judge of the High Court. That was December 2003 winter break, and we had decided to take oath after the winter break in the first week of January 2004. When I came to know that Justice Lahoti is visiting Chandigarh and is staying in the UT guest house, I sought an appointment, which he very gracefully granted. That meeting left a very deep impression on me, true to his reputation for gentleness and humility. He spoke to me with warmth and candor, offering invaluable guidance, especially on the do's and don'ts of judgeship. It was a conversation I have carried with me ever since. Justice Lahoti was not merely a jurist but a philosopher of justice, a torchbearer for the cause of legal aid. His book, Canons of Judicial Ethics, remains a moral treatise, reminding us the judiciary is not a cold instrument of the state, but a sanctuary for fairness and service. His famous lines, and I quote, "If values perish from our lives, the world will be a set of walking bodies without souls." This really captures a timeless truth that justice without compassion is justice in form, not in spirit. This singular commitment to values animated every facet of his judicial career. As early as 2005, Justice Lahoti foresaw the transformative potential of mediation and conciliation in India's justice system. He identified these alternative dispute resolution mechanisms as essential tools to meet the growing demands of their time. It was pursuant to his visionary outlook that the Mediation and Conciliation Project Committee, very popularly known as MCPC, in Supreme Court was constituted, which has since played a pivotal role in mainstreaming mediation across the country. Incidentally, I am looking after this committee also nowadays. And at present, one of the movements which I have initiated throughout the country is Mediation for Nation for 90 days, which is going on as of now. And we are trying to identify as many contentious cases for disposal through mediation. He also laid the foundation for the digital transformation of the Indian judiciary. Under his leadership, the E-Committee of the Supreme Court was established to steer the ambitious National Policy and Action Plan for Implementation of Information and Communication Technology in the Indian Judiciary 2005. That was the name of the scheme. This policy gave rise to the E-Courts project, a pan-India initiative that envisions a modern, responsive judicial system enabled by ICT infrastructure, aimed at improving efficiency, transparency, and access to justice across all levels of judiciary. Justice Lahoti's jurisprudence was transformative. He did not just interpret the law, he expanded its very spirit. making it a force for dignity and protection for the vulnerable. His gender-positive interpretation of Hindu law in B.P. Anchala Anand case, while upholding a women's right for residence, became a lodestar for compassionate and inclusive justice. His words and actions remind us that legal aid is not an act of charity, but a solemn obligation, a promise of inclusion and justice for all. It is in this spirit, ladies and gentlemen, that I wish to speak on the today's subject of bridging the gap, reimagining. Please consider the word. I am just, because some of the things are just a hypothetical idea right now, which we need to translate into reality. Therefore, I said reimagining legal aid in the digital age for inclusive justice in India. Our theme today commands us to reflect, reconceive, and reform. Despite decades of progress, the promise of Article 39A to ensure that the operation of the legal system promotes justice based on equal opportunity seems to be partially fulfilled. Article 39, inserted by 42nd Amendment, calls upon the state to provide free legal aid to ensure that no citizen is denied justice because of economic or other disabilities. India is among the few nations to constitutionally mandate legal aid. Yet the stark truth is that vast sections of our population, rural citizens, the urban poor, women, children, persons with disability, the elderly, still encounter formidable barriers in accessing justice. These may be barriers of awareness, geography, language, money, physical mobility, or social stigma. Legal aid, as we have conceived it for decades, has often been limited to the provisions of free or subsidized legal representation. While this is crucial, it is only the beginning. True access to justice demands not just representation, but also information, empowerment, support, and compassion. More than 7 decades since independence, we must ask, is justice truly accessible to all? For millions across India, migrant workers, tribal communities, daily wage earners, women abandoned by families, under trial prisoners, the legal system remains distant and unintelligible. Access is hampered not by poverty alone, but also by literacy, illiteracy, gender, caste, and now digital exclusion. So digital exclusion is something which requires very serious thought. As Justice Lahoti so eloquently taught us, justice is not only justice, justice is only justice if it is accessible, visible, and rooted in human dignity. Last Saturday only, I was in Srinagar for the launch of some NALSA schemes. A young tribal boy, about 18-19 years old, came to running to me and wanted to interact with me. I called him as the security people were not permitting. He shared his hardship, and not of his own alone, of his community. Primarily the youngsters, he told that they continue to face great difficulties despite many schemes and welfare measures. And the difficulty was that these welfare schemes will remain ineffective till the tribal families get sustenance so that they can afford to send their children to school and get eventually the basic education that may qualify them to take advantage of benefit like reservation for scheduled tribes in employment or other social scheme benefits. What he told me was that he had to leave the Navodaya school because his family cannot afford and he need to earn for the family. So it was not his own livelihood, it was for the sustenance of the family that the boy had to give up the school. His words remind us that what is true justice and how the welfare must begin with the fundamentals without which empowerment remains incomplete. NALSA and the state legal service authorities have long been the vanguards of access to justice in India, working tirelessly through a robust network of legal aid clinics, paralegal volunteers, prison legal services, lok adalats, and targeted outreach programs for the marginalized. These initiatives have touched countless lives, often in the remotest corners of the country, reaffirming the constitutional commitment to equal justice. And I must give credit to my elder brother, Justice Lalit, the outstanding and dedicated work he performed as executive chairman of the NALSA. The institution and the entire country still remembers very fondly the so many initiatives taken during his time. The current framework, rooted predominantly in bricks and mortar models of service delivery, however, faces inherent limitations. Physical infrastructure, constrained human resources, and logistic challenges restrict our ability to scale and respond swiftly to evolving legal needs and challenges, particularly in rural, tribal, and underserved urban areas. It is in this context that the digital revolution presents a compelling opportunity. Now, what is that digital moment and how this opportunity to be availed? We are on the cusp of a technological revolution. The digital age has transformed how we live, communicate, learn, and interact with the institutions around us. Technology is not a panacea, but it is an extraordinary enabler. India today has nearly 1.2 billion mobile connections, and approximately 85.5% of households possess at least one smartphone. The government's Digital India mission has ensured deep digital penetration in rural and semi-urban India. UPI transactions exceed 10 million monthly. Telemedicine, online education, and e-commerce have really revolutionized the daily life. On the lighter side, I was told that now in some of the religious places, you can have online darshan also. Yet access to justice remains largely analog. Courts are online, laws are also digitized, but quality legal aid is yet to trickle down to the last person in the line. The digital divide has become the new face of inequality. But herein lies the opportunity. With the right vision and safeguards, technology can break geographical barriers, democratize legal awareness, and bring legal aid to the doorstep, or rather the palm of every citizen. If harnessed thoughtfully and inclusively, it can bridge the persistent gaps in our justice delivery system. Let us pause and ask, what would Justice Lahoti envision for legal aid in the India of 2025 and beyond? I believe he would insist upon two things. One, that technology must be used not to replace compassion, but to amplify it. Second, that legal aid must become truly universal in both reach and spirit. The challenge before us, therefore, is not simply about bridging a technological divide. It is about combining the best of our technological ingenuity with the enduring values of human empathy, procedural fairness, and social solidarity. Each digital leap must draw us closer to the soul of the law, a law that speaks in every tongue, answers every call, and bends always toward justice. On reimagining, as we reflect on the transformative potential of reimagining legal aid in the digital age, it becomes increasingly clear that technology offers not just tools, but entirely new paradigms for nurturing an inclusive justice system. We must dare to think bigger, deploying innovation not only to streamline what exists, but to reinvent what is possible. Permit me, therefore, to outline how we might reimagine legal aid in the digital era for an inclusive India. In India, mobile phone penetration, as I earlier said, far surpasses internet-equipped computers. There are more mobiles than the computers. Today, even remote villages, mobile devices, however basic, are portals to the world. NALSA's pioneering legal, now I am imagining that what can be happen. NALSA's pioneering legal literacy programs must be recast for the digital age. Imagine a NALSA's companion mobile application offering step-by-step guidance accessible in every scheduled language using voice, video, and text. It could answer fundamental legal queries, explain rights and entitlements, and connect the users to volunteer lawyers, legal aid counsel I am talking, and paralegal volunteers. Pre-recorded legal advice. If we are go to digital age and legal aid, so pre-recorded legal advice via interactive voice response can serve the visually impaired and illiterate sections of our society. Artificial intelligence can simplify legal documents, translate orders into regional languages. NALSA, of course, is already exploring the use of natural language processing for basic legal question and answers in local dialects. Now, please, this is very important. Recently on the international platforms on mediation also I have been talking that for the success of mediation it's extremely important that we go into regional language. Not only that the mediators must know the regional language, they must also know the local dialect, because it is the mediator who has to talk both sides and eventually find out a solution which is acceptable on both sides. So unless you are able to close to their heart, unless you are able to understand their sentiments, unless you are able to touch their grievances, probably your success rate will not be as high as we are expecting. Therefore, the regional language, and I am going beyond regional language, to my mind the local dialect is extremely important for the purposes of legal aid, whether it is mediation through Lok Adalat or any other mechanism which we want to adopt. And therefore, I am laying a lot of emphasis on visualize a daily wage worker in Bihar. उसको आप लीगल एड ऑफर करेंगे, उसको आपने ऐप दे दिया, क्या बोलेगा वो ऐप में? उसको तो अपने वेज ही चाहिए. So I'm on illustratively I'm explaining to you. Suppose he will say, in what should be there? So I am visualizing that NALSA or the state legal service authorities will provide an online, on a mobile app, these services that he will ask a question on mobile phone and he will get the answer. So when he will ask the question, you please don't expect him to speak in English or Hindi. He is a laborer, he is a poor worker, he is a farmer, he is a farm worker. So what he will do? He will only speak his own language. So your app must be so updated and potentiality and capable that your app also understands his local dialect. So suppose I was asking, का अधिकार बा हमार जब मालिक पैसा न दे? If somebody will ask in Bhojpuri this question, that what I will do with your schemes? My Malik is not giving my money. Your app must be capable to answer it. In Kannada, suppose somebody says, PAN card ithe, employment exchange alli hesru kuda, ide adre kelsa mado avakash yeli. Means, you are offering me that there are employment schemes, you get the PAN card, this and that. What I will get with these cards unless I get a benefit of it? So your app must be capable to respond to these regional languages. So that's one aspect. There is also a pressing need to address the challenges faced by linguistic and cultural minorities. Digital platforms must not only be multilingual but also culturally nuanced. When citizens see their own stories, customs, and worldviews reflected in legal education content, barriers of alienation and mistrust crumble, making way for genuine engagement and confidence in the system. With the acceleration of remote communication post COVID 19, there is now an opportunity to decentralize and democratize legal aid. India's experiment with tele-law services during the COVID 19 pandemic offers valuable lessons. In those challenging months and months, millions were able to consult with legal experts via simple video and phone calls, often facilitated by paralegal volunteers stationed at common service centers. These efforts proved that digital legal aid is not only feasible but also scalable when guided by will and community participation. The momentum from that period should be harnessed and institutionalized, ensuring that digital intervention remain permanent fixture rather than emergency stopgaps. Virtual Lok Adalats should also become a reality by harnessing secure video platforms. Case hearings, especially for family disputes, minor civil issues, labor disputes, can happen with minimum travel and cost, saving litigants time and resources. Artificial intelligence, of course, if ethically and transparently displayed and used, can be another game changer in helping screen cases, prioritize urgent needs, and even generate first-level documents. Guided conversations through legal aid chatbots can help citizens articulate their issues clearly, identify relevant rights, and generate basic petitions in local language. Accordingly, the systems can quickly determine whether litigants qualify for free legal aid, reducing paperwork, discretion, and possible delays. Virtual reality, known as VR, and augmented reality, AR, also hold immense untapped promise for legal education and empowerment. This can be for the law schools. By creating immersive simulations of courtrooms and legal procedures, these technologies can demystify the justice system, enabling citizens, especially children, victims of trauma, and those disabilities having any physical or other disabilities, to practice and prepare for depositions, hearings, or mediation in a safe and supportive environment. Such experiences can significantly reduce anxiety and boost participation, especially for those who are intimidated by traditional courtroom settings. In reimagining legal aid, we should also look to the unparalleled potential of crowdsourcing and community-driven platforms. Drawing inspiration from successful education technology models, we can organize volunteer networks where law students, young advocates, and even retired legal professionals donate their time for online question and answer forums, live video helplines, and region-focused legal information webinars. Not only would this exponentially expand the reach of legal guidance, but it would also foster a sense of shared societal responsibility for justice, transforming legal aid from an isolated service into a vibrant democratic movement. Permit me to share some successful stories in this regard that inspire hope. In remote villages of Assam, paralegal volunteers are now using mobile phones to record testimonials of domestic violence victims and connect the survivors to pro bono counsel in real time. During the pandemic, virtual Lok Adalat in Maharashtra disposed of thousands of cases, helping workers recover unpaid wages without stepping outside. In Tamil Nadu, legal aid chatbots in Tamil language have been deployed to answer questions on land rights and tenancy. In Rajasthan, telecounseling lines answered by volunteer lawyers offer not just legal advice but also emotional support to widows and disaster survivors. These are not isolated miracles. They are becoming lighting the future roadmap. They show us what is impossible and what is that impossible can become possible with when compassion, innovation, and inclusivity converge. While discussing the untapped potential of technology, I wish to caution here that the excitement of technology must be tempered with restraint. That's extremely important. The digital divide is very real. The task before us is not simply to create digital solutions, but to ensure that these solutions are inclusive. That is what the constitutionalism, constitutional morality, and our constitutional philosophy of equality commands. Digital legal aid cannot succeed if citizens are unfamiliar with basic technology. This is the right time that all stakeholders, including educational institutions, should launch mass campaign on digital literacy, prioritizing women, senior citizens, persons with disabilities, and rural youth. Government investment in BharatNet and village level digital infrastructure is also crucial. Every Nyay Panchayat, police station, and CSE should have computers, reliable internet, printers, and trained personnel dedicated to legal aid. Technology must be accessible by design, screen readers, voice commands, and accessible interface must be mandatory for every legal aid platform. Another extremely non-negotiable aspect of this digital legal aid program is confidentiality and security. These two factors are also extremely important. No technology is neutral. The tools we build reflect the values we embed in them. As we digitize legal aid, we must design systems with built-in ethics. Privacy must be paramount, and platforms handling sensitive legal data must comply with rigorous data protection standards. Accessibility must not be compromised. Digital legal aid platform must be built to serve persons with disability, those who use screen readers, and the digitally less literate. Each of these innovations must be accompanied by robust mechanisms of digital ethics and accountability. Artificial intelligence must be designed to flag, not exacerbate the biases so entrenched in our society. Privacy by design, user consent, and continuous public oversight should be the hallmark of all digital legal solutions, assuring citizens that their quest for justice does not come at the cost of their security or dignity. Above all, beside these four caution which I have given, above all, empathy must remain central. Automated systems are efficient, but they cannot replace the human touch. Legal aid cannot become a factory of canned responses. It must not reduce people's problems to ticket numbers. There must always be a human fallback, someone to listen, explain, and reassure. Justice must still listen. While we reimagine legal aid through technology, let us not forget technology is only a tool. The heart of justice must remain human. NALSA's paralegal volunteers, often referred to as the foot soldiers of justice, can be empowered to serve as digital ambassadors in today's fast evolving legal landscape. When equipped with tablets, mobile devices, and constantly updated legal resources, these dedicated volunteers can bridge the last mile gap by guiding citizens through the often confusing digital pathways of justice delivery. Their presence not only ensure that technology serves the people but also that no one is left behind due to a lack of access or understanding. By hand-holding individuals through processes such as e-filing, virtual hearing, or digital consultations, they embody the very promise of inclusivity in legal aid in a digital age. At every touch point in this digital ecosystem, whether it is a lawyer responding to a distressed call, a judge presiding over a video-enabled court hearing, or even a chatbot answering a query, the culture of empathy, patience, and respect must be paramount. Technology, while powerful, cannot replicate the human element at the heart of the legal aid. It is therefore essential that all interactions within the digital legal aid framework are infused with a genuine sense of understanding and compassion, ensuring that individuals seeking help are met not with ineffective indifference but with a spirit of service. At this point, I must fairly admit that no single institution can overcome the challenges of providing inclusive justice in this digital age. Rather, true change demands an ecosystem approach built on strategic collaboration, engaging with the dynamic world of legal tech startups and social enterprises presents exciting new opportunities. These innovators are developing AI-powered legal research tools, voice-to-text transcription technology, and streamlined platforms for document automation, all of which can dramatically expand the reach and efficiency of legal services. By institutionalizing collaboration through hackathons, fellowships, and pilot projects, legal service authorities can harness this creative energy to push the boundaries of what legal aid can achieve. Alongside this, the law schools must become vibrant laboratories for both innovation and outreach. Through initiatives such as legal aid clinics, research projects, internships, and real-time experimentation, students can design, build, and test pioneering digital tools while making a direct impact on their communities. This symbiotic relationship not only fosters practical learning but also channels youthful creativity and a spirit of service for the justice delivery system. Meaningful engagement with civil society remains equally essential. Grassroots, NGOs, women organizations, and community leaders act as indispensable bridges to the most marginalized populations. Their deep understanding of local realities enables them to design solutions that are relevant, respectful, and genuinely inclusive. Finally, the role of government and the judiciary as catalysts cannot be overstated. With ongoing digital initiatives such as Digitally Accessible India, the Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile Trinity, and the e-Courts Mission Mode project, the groundwork is being laid for comprehensive justice reform. To fully realize these ambitions, these government-led digital strategies must converge with justice sector reforms. Meanwhile, the judiciary must remain adaptable, continually updating procedures to seamlessly incorporate digital evidence, remote testimony, and electronic records. Through such collaborative synergies, we can bring the promise of inclusive digital justice closer to reality. The theme of today's lecture, Bridging the Gap, ladies and gentlemen, is not merely a call to build more bridges. It is a call to imagine a different kind of society in which the chasm between the powerful and the powerless is narrowed each day, not by rhetoric, but by creative application of law and technology in service of humanity. Let us remember, justice delayed is not merely justice denied, in the digital age, justice undelivered because of inaccessibility, ignorance, or exclusion is worse, as it breeds cynicism and alienation. Let us strive for a system which every citizen, regardless of geography, gender, disability, or poverty, can say with confidence, "The law is here for me." Such a system will not just serve the poor, it will ennoble the very idea of justice. In a world where machines write poetry and AI predict behavior, we must remember justice is still human act. It is not rendered by bandwidth but by conscience. The greatness of the law lies not in authority but in service, not in rigidity but in compassion. Let us look for a future where every panchayat across the nation enjoys seamless digital access to legal assistance, where every woman, regardless of the circumstances or location, feels the assurance of her rights through the power of a simple phone call, where no prisoner is denied a prompt hearing, and where every citizen, from the cities to the remotest villages, is empowered to understand and speak the language of the law. This vision is not an unattainable utopia. With collective resolve, clear purpose, and strong partnership, we can transform it into India's living reality. In this reimagined world of legal aid, now I'm that concluding, in this reimagined world of legal aid, no one shall stand alone before the court. Instead, every citizen will find in the pillars of India's digital architecture the steady hand of guidance, the timely voice of counsel, and the unflinching gaze of justice, a legacy worthy of Justice Lahoti and a promise to every generation yet to come. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you so much, sir, for that phenomenal address. As we near the conclusion of today's memorable gathering, I now invite Professor Dr. Asha Verma ma'am, Dean School of Law, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Namaskar, ladies and gentlemen. It is truly an honor to stand before you this afternoon to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of the School of Law, Manav Rachna University, on the occasion of the second Hon'ble Justice R.C. Lahoti Memorial Lecture. We remain deeply honored to uphold the legacy of Hon'ble Justice R.C. Lahoti, a towering figure in Indian jurisprudence whose life continues to inspire generations of legal minds. We are deeply grateful to Honorable Mr. Justice Surya Kant sir, Judge of the Supreme Court of India, for delivering today's powerful and thought-provoking lecture on From Legislation to Liberation, Strengthening Legal Aid for the Marginalized in a Changing India. Despite his busy schedule, numerous responsibilities, and national commitments, Justice Surya Kant graciously accepted our invitation and took time out to be with us, sir. Sir, your words have truly inspired us and reminded us of the need to uphold the spirit of justice for those who need it the most. We are equally thankful to our guest of honor, Honorable Mr. Justice U. Lalit, former Chief Justice of India. Justice Lalit has always been a great source of inspiration for all of us at the School of Law, and we are truly privileged to have been constantly guided by him. His wisdom, humility, and continued encouragement mean a great deal to us. A very special thanks goes to the Lahoti family, whose gracious presence today made this occasion even more meaningful. Our sincere gratitude to Dr. Prashant Bhalla, Chancellor, Dr. Amit Bhalla, Vice President, and Dr. Dipendra Kumar Jha, Vice Chancellor, for their support, visionary leadership, and belief in the transformative power of legal education in India. A warm thanks to all my dear colleagues at the School of Law for their tireless efforts and enthusiasm in organizing this important lecture. We also acknowledge and appreciate the commitment of our administrative and support teams, including the design, marketing, logistics, and IT departments, for ensuring that every detail was handled with care and dedication. Finally, to our esteemed audience, honorable judges of the Supreme Court and various high courts, respected lawyers, advocates, policymakers, our dedicated faculty members, and our vibrant law students, thank you for being here, for engaging with the ideas shared today, and for contributing to the academic richness of this occasion. Let us all continue to carry forward the legacy of Justice R.C. Lahoti with dedication, compassion, and a strong sense of purpose. Thank you all once again. Jai Hind.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request all the faculties from School of Law to kindly gather at the stage for a photo with the dignitaries. Everybody else is requested to kindly remain seated. I request everyone to please rise for the national anthem.
पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
I request everybody to please remain seated. Audience, please remain seated for another 2 minutes.